Hey, how are you guys? We've been promised at the beginning of March or sometime in March when we released the God When I Let You Heal Me journal that we would offer some videos to show kind of how we use it and how to help you use it too. We, Melissa, Missy, and I have been being accountability partners for the lessons. We are on lesson 4 at this point that we're about to share, so we thought it was a good time to have an introduction video and have some additional video content that included the lessons and what we shared with each other and how we shared and how we were accountability partners to each other. So to start, God When I Let You Heal Me came about in a multitude of different ways. Healing is a journey, and that was something that we talked about with each other a lot, of how to offer this journal, how to lay this journal out, and how to make sure that we were not pushing someone when their healing journey was different than someone else's. I know myself that grief is one of the places that many of us need to heal from, and grief is a different timetable for every person, depending on who you're grieving, what you're grieving, etc., etc. So fortunately or unfortunately, we had a couple great examples within our lives to give us a person that was connected to us directly, that we could think about how their reaction would be to each lesson in this journal. So we wanted to talk about the fact that these journals come with a lot of prayer, come with a lot of time and energy and thought process. So the artwork is one step, then just the whole content and what verses are chosen for each lesson, etc., etc. It's not a fast process, and that's something that we had to be okay with, that waiting for different types of messages or messengers that needed to be a part of the content of one or many of these journals was okay. That waiting was okay. That the end result was really worth the waiting. So with this one, I'm just gonna again show you the front. God When I Let You Heal Me, and I will read the introduction. This journal explores stages of the healing journey. Each prompt page encourages you through a different stage of the healing journey. This journal is to write in while you experience these stages of healing. This journal is to write in when you have strength or disappointment, when you are going through the stages. This journal contains good news associated with God's Word. God's Word is a way you can be comforted when you are working and understanding your healing. Healing is a journey, a personal, gracious experience. It has no timeline, and it has no similarity from person to person, like I said. So one of the things that we're excited about in this journal is that we have a verse page, and then we have a good news page based, if you will, on the verse and how that verse talked to us about what the good news of that verse is when we're talking about healing. And then I am going to do a top view of the lessons that we have done so far so that you can see those. And then I'm going to do a video for lesson 5 that will be a part of this video also. So you'll get lessons 1 through 5 on this video. So that lessons is just a word I have. It's not necessarily a lesson, but the next verse that refers to healing. And again, if you have this journal, I encourage you to kind of look through, even if you just look through reading the verse and the good news, as a understanding of how we were brought to what the healing process is, and just to kind of give you, hopefully, some comfort, especially in this time, right? We have some grieving that we've done. We've had some grieving of job loss. We've had some grieving of people. We've had some grieving of the change, right? Our new life. We're grieving what our old life was. So I think, again, it's kind of interesting because we were trying to push, or I'm always the one trying to push. Missy's always the one pulling me back. Putting this out before 2020, and lo and behold, God knew, of course, again, always, that this was going to be used at a time that none of us could have predicted, thought of, believed, right, that we are experiencing right now in COVID-19. So I'm excited to share these lessons with you. Again, these pages of this journal with you. And I want to encourage you to go purchase your own journal. And we're excited to show you how different mixed media, how medium, acrylic, watercolors, gluing, etc., works in these journals, because it works really well, which is one of the reasons why we love this publisher and love the paper that comes in these journals. So again, thank you to those that already bought them and took our word back in March that we would offer these content pages. I just want to do a triple, quadruple, bazillion shout out to those people that already bought one, believing in that we would offer this content. So I'm excited to now do a view. My hubby set me up with a new camera holder so I can do that view and then show you those pages. So thanks, and now we're going to flip to that. Hey friends, just wanted to show you the pages in these journals. Here's the first lesson, that is Ecclesiastes 3:1, which is about a time for everything. I wrote to God about the storms and that the sunsets that come after that. In these pages, I used an old painting that I just cut and pasted in there. The next pages are just die cuts and some watercolors and some deli paper that had been painted on in previous art time. So the next one is about 2 Kings 25, and that God collects all of our tears. I think the most interesting part of these verses was the verses prior to this, and about the king being obedient. I'm showing you here what it looked like prior to and I show you that I had a version of this journal before the final version was complete. So just to remind you that everything isn't exactly where it starts. So I showed you the pages before and the pages after, and for this one I just use those watercolor pens, and I just kind of increase the doodles, if you will, and then I added the Pilot pen to put in the little sketches. So the next lesson is from Luke 6:19, about the crowd was all trying to touch Jesus to get his healing, which kind of made me think about the woman who came and touched Jesus' cloak to get her healing and completely stopped bleeding after 12 years. The sketch I made of her just kind of, I'm showing you right now what the pages look like before. The sketch I made of her just made me think of how calm she must have felt after being able to touch him. This page's background, I used a old card to just scrape paint on, and it's super easy, and it makes a really fun background. And I'm just demonstrating here on a envelope. And then I used just some black watercolor to put some lines in there, and then I used that a paint pen. The next lesson is the world picture that I really love. And the verse is Ephesians 3:20-21, about how God can do immeasurably more than all we can ask. And especially right now, we sure want God to do more than we can ask in this crazy time. So I just looked up words that were synonyms to abundance, because in some versions, immeasurably more is abundant. So I just wrote to God here about how He's going to triumph again over all the worries we have right now and all the things we're not sure about. And the next lesson is, listen to my words, Lord, consider my lament, hear my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray. And lament is a really good word. David lamented a lot in the Psalms, crying out to God. So God hears every prayer, even though they may not always be answered. We must never doubt the power that Jesus heals. So this is a lesson that hasn't been completed yet, but is the next lesson we're going to do.